Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Thursday, the 21st of November. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right. We saw a move down yesterday morning, which didn't make a lower low, and it didn't make a lower low on SPX either or on NDX either. These still kind of look like bear flags. We've broken back over the weekly pivot now, and maybe it's going to return directly back to the high from here, but equally I wouldn't be that surprised to see another turn down. In terms of the NVIDIA earnings last night, they didn't initially impress, so I don't think whatever's putting the market up today, if it goes up, it probably won't be NVIDIA. Looking at NQ, retested the low, still looks like a bear flag forming. On RTY, we had a 60-minute buy signal on RTY, and that's now reached the possible near miss target, and it's close to the actual target, pretty close to the weekly pivot as well. Looking at YM, YM didn't have a buy signal, but if we did, that would be close to target. No really obvious, the only decent reversal pattern I've got here is on IWM, not on RTY particularly. It's a bit fugly there, but on RTY, quite liking that one. We're still bumping down near the lows on DAX and STX. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. Now, on SPX, we have what looks an awful lot like a bear flag. It doesn't have to be a bear flag, and remember that in terms of bear flags, something like a third of these break down in the direction which they're not supposed to break in, which would, in this case, of course, would be up. So we could see a break up here, but my lean would be this is probably a flag. Obviously holding the daily middle bands across the board. NQ is the shakiest, but it's been holding that for the last couple of days. Looks nice. So in terms of the pattern, looks like a flag. Looking at Dyer, looks like a smaller flag, but nonetheless. It's this one had a test of the daily middle band. I mean, these are all pretty nice looking daily middle band support tests, so there's nothing inherently bearish about that. But I'm a bit concerned about the form this has taken, which looks like flags. Now, this could be a flag forming, but actually looks a lot more like an inverted head and shoulders forming, which was basically close to breaking up yesterday. Now, if this does break up, then it would have a target, which would be in about the 235.5 area. So that would get us a decent leg up. But equally, as with all head and shoulders, I was mentioning with the Solana one yesterday, which then did exactly that, you can see a break and then a rejection. Back to the low in this case, back to the high in Solana's case. So we will see how that goes. DAX and STX, not much to report really. DAX is still holding well under the daily middle band, and not really shown any sign of bullishness so far in November. This is looking, if this is actually a head and shoulders isn't going to break down, it's probably going to need to break down soon. There's not much sign of it doing that. I'm still leaning towards seeing a retest of this high here in the 42.4 area by Christmas. But you've now used up a lot of the time before Christmas. Christmas is only a month away. We'll see how it goes. All right, looking at the dollar, still leaning towards seeing a retest of the high, which we haven't quite managed yet, but we've almost done. On ZB, this was not quite a double bottom here, but it was a double top on TNX. I am thinking we might still see a rally from here. I'm just a bit surprised we haven't already had one. On CL, this broke up, killed the 60-minute sell signal, and is testing the monthly pivot at 70.53 as support. If we can see a break up through it, I've got the target in the 71.60 to 72 area. NG has had a firm break up. Now, we're just about to roll into January, and when that happens, that will go up another 15. But that's the last of those that's the last of the winter rolls up. So that'll get us up into about 3.5, 3.6 area. We've actually got some resistance not too far above 3.6, 3.7, and that is potentially double bottom resistance. We could see a break up, but what I would say is the tide has been running one way the last few months, with the winter roll sending NG up every time the contract changes. For the next 3 months, it's going to be going down, and actually, it's going to be going down about. It's only 50 cents over the next 2 or 3 months, but obviously that's a headwind that the natural gas price will be facing until April. All right, looking at GC, nice move up. 60-minute sell signal hasn't delivered anything so far, but hasn't quite failed. No obvious pattern target above, though. And obviously, I'm concerned about the dollar. Looking at silver, this looks like a bull flag which is starting to break up. The 60-minute sell signal has reached the possible near miss target. Very different message on HG, which has actually formed a very nice looking rising wedge. This looks like a bear flag, and a bear flag which may well be starting to break down here. So I'm leaning towards the downside here. On KC, we have gone higher, no particular sign of it turning. SB back below the weekly pivot. This has been a bullish consolidation which has now lasted 2 months. So it is likely a bullish consolidation which will eventually move up and retest this high here in the 23.4 area, but no sign of that happening at the moment. CC, I think this is likely to retest this high here just over 87.50 and then may well just continue higher. ZW, keeping an open mind on this one. I'm getting mixed signals here. I am wondering about lower retests on wheat, which we've not seen so far. On corn, possible little level top here, but there's a pretty obvious target at a retest this high here at 435. Weak 60-minute sell signal has fixed and hasn't really done anything so far. It's on soy, we've seen a lot more weakness, and we're still pretty close to the lower lows that I was talking about. So the grain's not really acting as one. CT, nice rally here. 60-minute sell signal is fixed. I'm wondering about a retest of this low here and potentially a little lower on the bigger picture. On lumber, this looks like it wants a retest of this high here in about the 624 area. On live cattle, we've broken up from what looks like a bull flag here. It wasn't the greatest bull flag in the world, but it's delivering so far. So obvious target would be a retest of this high here in about the 190.4 area. And on lean hogs, this looks like a little double bottom that's broken up with a target in about the 86 area, and may take us back up into a retest of the high at 86.875. Right, okay, looking at ES, nothing particularly short-term suggesting lower. We do have a possible 5-minute sell signal brewing, but mainly I'm looking at these and thinking these look like bear flags. I've also been noticing the last few days we've had quite a lot of bearish mornings and bullish afternoons. It'll be interesting if we see a downswing this morning to see how far it gets. But at the moment, until we see a further break up, over 6,000 would certainly do it. But until we see a further break up, I'm still wondering about these being bear flags. One thing to mention, we've got quite bullish leaning tape historically into Christmas. After Christmas, I think all bets are off. We've got an interesting year coming up. We've got a revolutionary government, because it is a revolutionary government, really. They're planning to upend an awful lot of the old order. And there's going to be tariffs, and there's going to be awful lot of changes. The international settlement, basically since World War II, may get overturned. And actually, the tree is going to get pretty thoroughly shaken, and that's not necessarily a bad thing at all. I think this particular tree has been looking a little unfit for purpose for a while. So the fact is, actually, what Trump's doing may be a good thing long term, but short term, it's going to provide quite a lot of turbulence next year. Particularly tariffs are a big concern, because actually they may well stoke inflation and send up interest rates. And I think Trump's planning to bring a lot of chip production back on shore. That might take a while. I think in the meantime, it's probably a good thing if China didn't invade Taiwan. We will see. But one way or another, it's going to be an interesting year on the markets. So we've got a bullish lean into Christmas. After that, well, we'll have to take it as it comes. Trump gets inaugurated, I think, on the 10th of January or the 12th. And after that, I think things could start getting pretty interesting. So we'll see how that goes. All right, great. In that case, that's the wrap for today. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. And we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it should be interesting.